back. So this episode is not really an episode, to be honest. I thought I needed to do a bit of an update about me and the podcast, just to inform you of what's happening next, really. So I started this podcast in the summer of year 12, which is the penultimate year of school for UK students. And I did this just because, to be honest, I really like finding out about and talking about science. It was a way for me to explore science beyond what I was being taught at school and explore things that I was more passionate about. Anyway, since then, it's been, well, this will be the 18th episode, which is really amazing, to be honest, because it's quite strange to think how far I've come since the first episode. Moving on, I am going to get on to the big news, which is exciting and really the reason that I'm doing this update at all. So, as you may know, I finished school earlier this year. I've been enjoying a nice long summer. And a couple of weeks ago, it was A-level results day, where all the students who sat their A-levels got back their results and kind of decide what you're going to do next in life. And I am very, very happy to announce that I will be going to King's College London to study physics in September. I'm so excited about this. It feels like it's been a long journey through sixth form and the last years of school, and it's still very strange to think that I now am definitely actually going somewhere to study physics. It's really amazing. So the course I'll be studying is physics with astrophysics and cosmology, which is extremely exciting because that is exactly where my interests lie. So astrophysics, which is probably more well known to most people, is sort of applying physics to everything in the universe, really. Learning about stars and galaxies, black holes, how stars form and how they evolve, and really how everything in the universe functions and works physically. Cosmology, however, is a little bit more general. It's almost a bit philosophical, actually. It's kind of looking at the universe as a whole, a lot to do with the origin of the universe and how it's developed over time. So how did the universe start? Why? How has it expanded? And what evidence do we have to explain the way in which this happened? How the universe has evolved over time, and also thinking about what will happen in the future of the universe. This is all linked as well to dark matter and dark energy, one of the most exciting areas, in my opinion, of physics research, which is very cool. As you can probably tell from various episodes I've done, all of this stuff is exactly what I'm interested and passionate about. Honestly, I don't think there could be a course more perfectly suited to my specific passions, because I get to just learn about, ask questions about, and ponder the universe for the next few years. So it's perfect, really. I know this is a cliche thing to say, but genuinely ever since I was a child, I've been absolutely fascinated by space. It's probably the topic that got me into realizing that I wanted to do physics, because to younger me, I thought, well, I love space. I can't stop thinking about it. What do I need to study in order to get into learning about space and stuff? I realized it was part of physics, and that's why physics really is my favorite science, to be honest. And then as I did it more, I realized that I love lots of other things in physics, and just getting to learn about how the world works and how the universe functions, all of this. But I definitely credit my early interest to space. The second thing I'm particularly excited about in relation to this university is that it's in London. There are so many opportunities there, just in general, but also science specific. I am excited to be able to stroll into the Natural History Museum, Science Museum, and all the other places whenever I want to, because so many of them are free, which is amazing. Also, I have been already thinking about the fact that the Royal Institution is in London, and I'm sure there'll be some great lectures I can go to there. Public science talks and university events, exhibitions. I mean, the Royal Observatory is there in Greenwich. There's just so much, and mainly just meeting so many other people who are interested in science. I was actually one of the few people at my school who wanted to go and do a pure science degree. A lot of people want to do engineering or medicine, which is very understandable, but I'm very excited to meet lots of other people on my course who are interested in physics and astro stuff. In terms of the podcast, this is also really cool because just studying high-level science gives me so much more material to talk about and think about, make podcast episodes about, which is really exciting. So I've given you my big news that I'm very excited about. I just want to talk a little bit more about what is actually happening to Schrödinger's chat as a result of this. What is the actual podcast update? So since I started it, it's been a very flexible project. I've not really had a strict upload schedule, mainly because of the schoolwork I've had and not knowing that I'll definitely be able to do things on certain days. I've kind of just made episodes whenever I'd had the time or the ideas and just released them whenever was convenient for me. The variety has been part of the fun, just sort of coming up with random things, but I would like to sort of start a new chapter. So this episode is 18, which is this update. I think I'd like to do a couple more episodes this summer to get us to episode 20, which is a nice round cut-off number, and I think I'm going to call that season 1. It has been a year, which feels like a long time for a season to stretch on, but I think because it's been interrupted quite a bit by exams and university preparation and just school itself, it does seem like a natural place to cut it off. So yeah, I don't know when this will be, but to the end of this month or the start of the next one, I will do episode 20, which will be the last one in what I'm going to call season 1. Then I'll have a little bit of a break as I get settled into uni. So I'm moving to uni about halfway through September, so I'm going to give myself a week or two to sort of get settled into the accommodation, meet people, figure out where my lectures are, what the timetable is, not trying to stress myself out too much by worrying about meeting podcast deadlines, and just allow myself to adjust before trying to document anything that's happening there. And then maybe a couple of weeks into university, I would like to start season 2. So is there going to be any difference? Well, I do really like the vibe of the podcast that I've got going right now. I like to think of it as containing a lot of genuine science, that you're actually learning stuff and looking at science in new perspectives, but I like to think that it's not, and I hope it isn't too intense. I try to keep it very chill and not that you need a science degree in order to be able to understand it. And just because I'm off to do a physics degree, I don't really want that to change. I still want it to be very approachable and enjoyable for anyone who wants to listen, really. So don't worry, I will still be doing all of the fun, random topics that I'm already doing. I've still got so many more legends and lab coats and science behind sci-fi, book reviews, all sorts to do. I don't want to stop the type of episode I'm doing. All I'm saying is that there might be some new sorts of things that I want to talk about as well. I think season 2, I would like it to be a little bit more structured than season 1, but I will also have a slightly more flexible schedule than I ever did at school. So I'd like to hopefully settle into a more regular upload schedule, maybe weekly or maybe every 2 weeks. I'm not sure yet, we'll find out near the time. It might be nice to give myself a little bit more of a structure to stick to and help me keep on top of more regular uploads. In terms of the actual content, as I said, I'd like to keep it pretty much the same style for sure, but maybe I'll be able to integrate a bit more of the physics I get to learn at university, but we'll see where that takes us in the future. The other thing I'd like to do is expand beyond the podcast a bit. I have been hinting at this over the summer episodes a little bit. I would like to have a go at expanding and experimenting a bit with maybe doing some short form videos or behind the scenes of the podcast. Could be really interesting. And I'm also quite keen, once I get to uni, to document a bit of what it's like to do a physics degree and keep on top of running my physics podcast, and just what it's like to be a science student at uni, really. I also might like to document some of my sciencey explorations in London. If I go to any events, lectures or sciencey museums, I might think about doing some content based on that. So I'm kind of thinking about experimenting rather than promising anything in particular. But also let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Would you like to see some behind the scenes and how it is to study physics in London? let me know if you have any feedback or if you have any opinion about that, really. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up now. That was quite a hefty personal and life update about me and the podcast. There will be a couple more episodes, as I said, that will be normal episodes. So episode 19 and episode 20 will be back to usual sciencey episodes, so look out for that. Those 2 episodes will be the end of season 1. Then season 2 will kick in a couple of weeks after I go to uni. Thank you for listening and all of the support I've got over this year of the podcast. I've had some really nice comments, and to be honest, just the fact that people listen is fantastic. So thank you for listening and following along this journey. I will see you next episode where we'll be back to normal. Stay tuned for updates and changes as I move into this exciting new chapter. Bye!